Hello everyone! Today we're going to be working with clay to create a ceramic turtle, a sea turtle, using a coil for the shell. So you'll get a ball of clay from your teacher and you'll want to kind of start dividing it up into different sections or different chunks of clay. So we'll need one piece for the shell. That's probably going to be your larger piece. And then you're going to start dividing the rest of the clay into smaller pieces, totaling 6. So that would be 1 for the head, 4 for arms or legs, and 1 for the tail. And so once you separate this clay, if you have any extra, you can just kind of set that aside. You might end up using more or less just depending upon how the project goes. But let's start with the coil. To do a coil, you use flat hands, rolling the clay, and you're kind of pulling outwards as you roll back and forth. This coil does not need to be very long or very thin. It can stay a good thickness. And so the key is just trying to get it to feel about the same thickness all the way up and down. Now we want this coil to stay together really, really good. So we are going to do our scratching with a tool and then adding some slip to it. That scratching technique, another word, is scoring. And then slip is just clay that's been watered down, so it has that kind of muddy feel, works like glue. Begin to coil up your coil by just rolling it from one end to the other end. Notice I'm kind of trying to keep some tension on it. With the end of it, you can just press it flat, smooth out any lumps, bumps, any slip that oozed out. And our goal is to try to create like almost a dome shape. So this is the back of my shell. All right, I'm going to set that aside for now and start working on the body parts. So you can decide if you want to make like spheres or if you want to do more of like the sea turtle limbs. So if they're spheres, then you can just kind of roll some of the clay. If you want to do the sea turtle legs where it looks kind of like a fin or a flipper, I pressed the dough flat and then I'm using some tools to kind of create this like curving triangle shape. So you would make 4 of them, 2 for each side, and those are going to be attached to the shell. The way that you attach them is by doing that slipping scoring again. So scratching up, roughing the clay on both the leg side or whatever you're attaching to the shell. Everything's going to be attached to the shell. And so using a little bit of that slip, you're pressing, wiggling, trying to get a good connection. And then you do need to smooth out the clay so that there's no seam. By doing that, it's going to just ensure that those body parts are going to stay on even better. And while I'm holding in my hand, I'm going to smooth out the back of the coil. This gives me a nice flat spot I can write my name later on, and it also is just another way to make sure that my coil shell is going to stay together. See, just like that. Continue working around your turtle until you've added all of your pieces. And I'll show you when I finished. So it's got arms and legs. I did some eyes on the head and a little triangle for the tail. When you're finished with your turtle, we're using some paper towel to try to put up underneath the shell. That's the doming part. We're trying to make him look like his shell is popped out. Then I'm just going to draw in some texture on those arms and legs and even a little bit on the head to make it look like his skin is rough and textury like a real turtle would be. Finish up the textures, smooth off any edges. Make sure that your name is written clearly on the underside of the turtle, so underneath his shell or underneath one of the legs, and just make sure that you've knocked off anything that's going to dry hard or sharp, and your turtle will be ready for drying.